Good day, everyone. Have you ever wondered what are the stories behind those monuments and shrines you see, the festivals that we are celebrating, and the holidays that we are commemorating? In this lesson, we will learn about the context of those things that I mentioned. I am James Darrell C. Nicolas, studying from Pangasinan State University or Daneta City Campus, taking the program of Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Science, presenting Critical Evaluation and Promotion of Local and Oral History. These are the learning objectives of this lesson. Number 1. Manifest interest in local and oral history and show concern in promoting and preserving the country's historical and cultural heritage. Number 2. Demonstrate an understanding of the ways in which critical evaluation of local and oral history can be used to study the Philippine history more effective. And lastly, develop a critical evaluation on the role of local and oral history in shaping common understandings about the ancient Philippines. But before we jump on our lesson, I have prepared a pre-test for you. Try to answer it and let's assess what you know about our lesson. Now, let us proceed with our lesson. Local history is defined as the history of a particular place or community and the people who live there in the past or who live there now. It is the study of history in a local context, often concentrating on events that affected a local community. In other words, it is the story in a given setup. It is where the story resided in the past times or even in our present generation. Moreover, local history includes historical and cultural heritage, stories, traditions, religious rituals, and among others. But what is the sense on studying local history? Well, studying local history promotes preservation of local areas, its stories, practices, traditions, and local heritage. Pretty self-explanatory, right? But on the other hand, what is oral history? Oral history is the research into the past that records the memories of witnesses to the past in order to draw on direct and personal experience of events and conditions. It involves the recording of an individual's spoken memories. We can actually do oral history by interviewing those people that live in the past, by recording it with a pen and paper or even preserving it with a recorder. By that way, oral history can be promoted and its issues addressed by encouraging dialogue among practitioners through conferences and seminar workshops. Let us put emphasis on local history. What actually encompasses the local history? Well, I have some examples for you. And number one for that is the museums and shrines. Museum is a permanent, not-for-profit institution, accessible to the public and of service to society. It is also said that museums are windows of the past. In other words, museums are the storages for artifacts, documents, and even memorabilia of the people that shape the Philippine history. On the other hand, shrine is a sacred or holy space dedicated to a specific deity, ancestor, hero, martyr, saint, or a similar figure of respect, wherein they are venerated or worshipped. One example of that is the Rizal Shrine. Furthermore, museums and shrines researches, collects, conserves, interprets, and exhibits tangible and intangible cultural and natural heritage in a professional, ethical, and sustainable manner for education, reflection, and enjoyment. Museums play a crucial role in preserving local culture. With careful documentation and artifact preservation, a culture can be recorded and remembered regardless of its future. As I've said earlier, museums and shrines plays a vital role in shaping the Philippine culture. It stores the last documentation of the past Philippine generations. Up next, religion. The Constitution of the Philippines provides the freedom of religion. The Philippines is one of the few Asian countries to have a Christian majority. According to statistics, about 80.7% of the Philippines residents identify as Christians, with 80.58% of the population being followers of the Roman Catholic Church, and about 11% being other Christian denominations. In addition, the people of the Philippines followed syncretic religions including polytheism, Buddhism, Islam, Hinduism, and shamanistic animisms before the Spanish and Western cultures arrived. Then, we have festivals. It is also significant in shaping the local history here in our country, Philippines. Festivals or fiestas, as they are called locally, are a great way to highlight the Philippines' rich cultural diversity. All of the festivals have religious or cultural significance. One example, Ati-Atihan. Also, in the Philippines, most towns and cities have patron saints who are celebrated during festivals because the Roman Catholic faith is so prevalent there. One obvious example is the Sinulog Festival here in our Philippines, where the patron saint is the Santo Niño. Social beliefs and customs, as a part of local history, is also significant here in our country. The social beliefs and customs practiced in the Philippines are primarily influenced by the religion and demographics of the region where they are practiced. The traditional customs of the indigenous Filipinos are based on the beliefs of the Austronesian inhabitants of the Philippines. One custom of the Philippines, and is unique to us, is the pagmamano, and also the bayanihan. Indigenous groups here in our Philippines are also considered as a local history. Indigenous groups in the Philippines consists of a larger number of Austronesian ethnic groups. They are the descendants of the original Austronesian inhabitants of the Philippines that settled 1,000 years ago. In addition, Philippines is a culturally diverse country with an estimated 14 to 17 million people belonging to ethno-linguistic groups. Unfortunately, some are still the poorest, least privileged, and most disadvantaged, and they have not been impacted by the Spanish and American colonization. There are some indigenous groups here in the Philippines. It includes the Badjaos, also known as the Sea Tribes, the Atis and Tumando coming from the Panay Islands that still exhibits animalistic rituals and beliefs, and most importantly, the Aitas, Aita or Agta, the earliest known inhabitants of the country which are nomadic and called by the Spanish Negritos. Of course, therein lies the literature and arts here in the Philippines, the rich poetry here in our country. Ancient Filipino literature was primarily made up of legends and folklore, which were the main forms of literature before the Spanish colonization of the country. These folktales were based on specific themes and aimed to pass down traditions and cultural beliefs through generations. Moreover, most of these folktales existed as oral literature. Written publications did exist particularly during the Spanish colonial era. Examples of this poetry is the Ibong Adarna and Florante at Laura. Furthermore, the ancient Filipinos were also talented tattooists, decorating their bodies with multicolored pigmentation in designs inspired by the environment. The tattooing of these ancient Filipinos was so well done that Portuguese explorers called them the painted people, or most commonly known as the Pintados. We have Apo Wangod here as the Philippines' famous tattooist. Modern artists in the Philippines include Juan Luna, Fernando Amorsolo, and Damian Domingo also shape Philippine arts through their unique style of expression towards their artworks. Damian Domingo's famous artwork is The Journey of Barong Tagalog. Juan Luna's famous artwork is The Spoliarium, and finally, the artwork of Fernando Amorsolo, Planting of Rice. To sum it all up, by appreciating the significance of the following local and oral history, we will have a better understanding about the events that took place on the various places mentioned. In addition, by promoting local and oral history, we Filipinos will be able to preserve the old Filipino way up to the succeeding generations. In addition, it gives us identity and absolute proof that we are truly a Filipino citizen. Finally, we preserve not just the history or the story behind something. We conserve and secure the identity of our beloved homeland. Before we formally close our discussion, I prepared another 10-item quiz for you guys to assess your learnings in this lesson. Again, I am James Darrell C. Nicolas, presenting Critical Evaluation and Promotion of Local and Oral History. Thank you.